Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez attempting to tug at heartstrings while blasting the Trump administration's latest move on food stamps, saying, "My family relied on food stamps when my dad died at 48. I was a student. If this happened then, we might have just starved. Now, many people will." But, here's the thing, folks. It's just not true. While I am very sorry for her loss, these changes to SNAP are only for able-bodied adults between ages 18 and 49 who have no dependents. Her family, in this instance, would have seen no changes to their particular program. I want to bring in Fox News contributor Liz Peek to discuss this. And, it's this attempt to paint everything that, well, it's always existed. Everything that Republicans do is cold-hearted, mean-spirited, and designed to hurt poor people. But, does anyone on her staff even read this stuff?
You really have to wonder. She shoots from the hip so often, she should be wearing a holster. This girl needs to do her homework before she goes out there and blasts what is, after all, a pretty sensible reform. What the Trump administration is doing is basically going back to the concept that initiated the SNAP program in the first place. This was not meant to be a long-term dependency program. Initially, in 1933, it was a program when people were starving.
Sure.
There really was a problem. No one could get work anywhere. This is obviously a very good time to make a change like this. There are 36 million people on food stamps, more than the entire population of Scandinavia and Switzerland thrown in. That's too many people. And the truth is, it was never meant to be for able-bodied workers.
Right.
That was a long-term
And to your point, it was
premise.
also back then temporary. You gave $1, you got $1 back, and a regular thing that you spend anyway, a 50-cent stamp you could spend on food only. It was temporary, but like so many other temporary progressive programs,
right,
it stayed with us. I want you to listen real quick to what Russ Vought had to say. He's the acting OMB director, because I asked him about this yesterday. The media is saying this is one of the most cold-blooded, heartless things that any government can do, particularly to the most vulnerable in this society. What do you say to that?
We think it's absolutely wrong. We think that one of the most important things that you can do is to get people back to work, and that there's a dignity in work. We want to enforce the law, and we want to make sure that welfare is there for those people who need it, and for those who are using welfare and can work at the same time. We want them to get back into the labor force, have jobs, and get out of a cycle of dependency.
Liz, one of the reasons that this morning's jobs number was surprising is that there are more jobs than people out there, right? According to the stats, but more importantly, a lot of people make a lot more money by not working than taking a lower paying job, a starter job, for instance. And I think it's incumbent upon a country to push these folks into the labor market, because then you are on the ladder of success.
Well, yeah, you can't go forward unless you're on the ladder. I totally agree with you. But again, this fellow, I thought, actually did a sort of medium job at explaining what they were trying to do. What he really should be emphasizing is there is a job out there right now for anyone who wants one. So the alternative of receiving dependent aid or whatever